Alright guys, what up? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. And in this one, I want to humor the idea or quote that a lot of XDefiant doubters or haters or whatever you want to call them have been saying for months upon months now. And that is that XDefiant is never going to release, or XDefiant is going to get canceled, or whatever type of version of that has been said. So obviously I've seen it in my comment section, I've seen it in other YouTubers comment section, I've seen it on Twitter or X and all that stuff. So now I'm actually going to humor the idea in this video, and I would like one of these guys or anybody that has any idea why these people are saying that to kind of humor me in the comment section to give me a legit logical reason as to what can make that happen. And what I mean by legit and logical reason is I don't mean legit and logical reason as in coming from a place of hate, right? I'm talking, or impatience. I'm talking about like a legit logical reason as to why you think the game is not going to release. And I'm giving you a chance here to kind of speak your mind on this one and as to why. And if it makes sense, then I think that will be very interesting and informative. And of course, if it doesn't make sense, then it just doesn't make sense. I mean, in my opinion, the quote itself doesn't make sense. However, the fact that XDefiant has yet to be released, and the fact that we haven't gotten transparency from Mark Rubin like the way we used to a few months ago, because I guess he's got his head down and he's just prepping for launch, assumingly. It kind of raises the question as to, hey, maybe these guys were right. Maybe the game is not going to release, or maybe the game has gotten canceled. I like to think that it's in some people's minds, you know, where it wasn't before. At least it's in the back of their mind to where it's like, maybe the game won't come out. It's been delayed for so long, huh? But anyway, I want to also say in terms of why I think the game will release. Okay, now, first of all, as we know, we live in a world to where money talks, right? Money talks louder than everything else, and it's a language that pretty much all of us can understand. It's kind of like mathematics. We all understand the language of mathematics, and it doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or advanced. I mean, math is math, so we all understand 2 plus 2, right? So it's the same thing with this when it comes to money. We all understand money, we all know the value of it, etc., etc. Now, Ubisoft has already spent millions upon millions on this game. They've already released 2 betas. They even had a showcase event which lasted over 2 hours, which is probably going to be the background footage of this video or whatnot. So there's been some promotional things happening with the game. And when the game gets closer and closer to launch, hopefully this month, fingers crossed, we're going to see additional promotional stuff. We know that there's stuff in the store. Stuff like that has been leaked. We know that there's going to be a battle pass and all that stuff. So it's like, and of course, the devs themselves, and Mark Rubin has already said this, is they've already been working well beyond Season 1. As a matter of fact, there's already 10 maps that are finished, if not close to being finished, that we have yet to see. So, and we know that there's game modes coming. We know that there's weapons coming. So, I mean, you know, when you put everything into perspective, it's like, yeah, the game is going to release, and there's been millions upon millions of dollars spent. And at worst case scenario, I'm pretty sure that Ubisoft and the execs, right, who, you know, understand the language of money, at the very least, they want to at least make a return on investment, right? They want to at least be able to break even, so they say, hey, we didn't lose money, but it's like, okay, we at least broke even or something like that. Because if there's anything that any publisher does not like, for any entity whatsoever, they do not like losing money. They do not want to go negative. And if they break even or go negative, they take it as a sign to where it's like, okay, we can't make a profit from this, or we'll lose money from this. Now, obviously, losing money is worse than breaking even, but at the same time, they don't want to break even either. So the game, there's been money spent on the game for the game itself to actually make money. Okay, even if it is a little bit, or if it's not, you know, exactly the kind of money they pictured, at the end of the day, a profit's a profit and you take it, right? So these guys are not going to spend money on a project upon millions and millions of dollars on a project and for that project to not release, right? So because not releasing it is the thing that's going to shoot them in the foot, if you think about it. If you release it, people will play it, okay? It may not be the numbers that you want or expect or whatnot. Maybe the store might not sell as well as you projected, but at the end of the day, you still have people playing it, and you will make you'll make that money back, hopefully, and hopefully and then some, to where it turns a profit. But the thing is this, they would be bleeding even more by not releasing the game. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's like, okay, from a logic perspective, it's like, okay, you guys already made this, release it in whatever state it is, and we'll try to make as much money as we can because we've already lost millions upon millions on this game. So just release the game. Simple as that. So in my mind, I'm just trying to think like what could possibly happen to where the game itself gets canceled. I mean, do people think that Ubisoft all of a sudden is just going to say, let's cancel this for something else, or we're just going to put a stop to this because such and such? And some people also are saying that they believe that Mark Rubin and his team are incompetent developers. And one reason that they'll put those words into play here is because of Call of Duty Ghosts, because Mark Rubin was in charge of Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, I'm looking at Call of Duty Ghosts and I'm thinking, okay, it wasn't as well received as Black Ops 2, that's for sure. It's one of the games that a lot of OG COD players really did not like, and it came after Black Ops 2, which was, that would have made the game hard in and of itself. But I get where people are coming from, but at the same time, you need to see the entire picture. Out of all the feedback that we gave the developers from Call of Duty Ghosts, we ended up having some of the coolest and best DLC in COD ever at that time. And even to this day, like, the DLC was pretty badass. You've got the Michael Myers thing, you've got all the game modes that ended up happening, and additional support for the game. The maps, DLC wise, were awesome. So and again, you even had Predator and all that other stuff. So the devs were definitely listening, and the devs definitely made adjustments, right? So it's like they couldn't do anything to the game, to alter the entire game. But what they did do was, from that point forward, they were actually scoring. They were getting some pretty high marks, man, in accordance to feedback from the community. A lot of people will say that, like, okay, COD Ghosts maybe wasn't the kind of game that we were hoping for, but damn, when it came to DLC and post-launch content, these guys really nailed it and hit it out of the park. And that also comes from feedback. And let's not mention that with the base game itself, Call of Duty Ghosts actually had some really cool gems. Now, first of all, the weapons in that game were awesome. The create a class system was one of the best we've ever had. That wasn't a copy and paste of Pick 10, which was pretty cool. Cranked was an awesome game mode. And then for the regular maps that weren't oversized in that game, maps were pretty solid. I think Warhawk is one of the best maps in COD history. You know what I mean? The smaller maps in that game, Sovereign was solid as well. Sovereign may not be like one of the best or whatnot, but it's good. I mean, for Search and Destroy, it's according to the competitive community and everybody that loves the search mode of Search and Destroy, which is a big chunk of the COD community, whether you're casual or competitive, people love Search and Destroy. So they'll say that Sovereign is actually a pretty solid Search and Destroy map. But just in general, it's a pretty solid map in general. Especially when you compare it to some of the maps that we've gotten more recently with Modern Warfare 2019 and then Modern Warfare 2, and then, so, you know what I mean? Call of Duty Ghosts it's got some parts to it to where it was a hidden gem. I mean, there were a few things that they should have done better from like launch, like the color palette and stuff like that for sure. But, and then again, when you look at the hit detection in that game, the hit detection was very, very solid. I think they also introduced Clan Wars, which was a really good idea, and it brought a lot of players together. But at the same time, for the players that wanted to play solo, they could only either A, play free-for-all, or B, just kind of struggle with the fact that they're playing against full team after full team after full team because there's Clan Wars going on the weekends, or once or twice a month on the weekends or something like that. So yeah, there were a lot of really cool stuff. There were a lot of really cool things about Call of Duty Ghosts, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough to where the game itself was as well received or close to as well received as Black Ops 2. So, but when you put the entire picture into play, and when you see that that the game actually ended up improving with time, is pretty much a testament that, XDefiant might even launch not so solid, but I can tell you this, that the game will improve as time goes on. I've got that much faith, and I know that Mark Rubin and his team are going to basically take the feedback we get them once the game launches. And then when that happens, then I think it's a very strong possibility that if the game does launch in a rough state, which I hope it doesn't, but if the game actually does launch in a rough state, that the game is only going to get better with time. But the dilemma with that is that you can't just, have players and then that'll be it. You got to keep them, right? That's the thing. It's one thing when you have players playing your game, you got to give them a reason to stay, or multiple reasons to stay. And if they don't stay, or if they don't come back after you release your content or whatnot, or whatever the deal is, then you've got quite a problem to overcome if you're a developer. So that is going to be the big thing. That is going to be the big question mark that whether or not we'll see answered. But as of right now, the game has yet to release, and there hasn't been anything new official said by the devs. So yeah, so a lot of it seems that certain people think that the game is going to get canceled or not released. So I would really love some feedback down in the comment section below as to why you think that the game might get canceled or not released. And yeah, I really am. This month is going to be the most interesting month when it comes to XDefiant, because this is the month where it's supposedly supposed to release because of the quarterly earnings show, and XDefiant has said to be by March 31st released. So, and I'm going to look at my calendar now because I've never done this before, and while I'm doing this, I might as well just pop this up now. So the 31st is going to be a Sunday, so we know that it's not going to be released on a Sunday unless all of a sudden XDefiant decides to break the mold and not release on a Tuesday or a Friday. So we're looking at the latest on the 26th, which is a Tuesday, or the 29th, which is a Friday. So we're looking at the possible latest of the 29th. So we have less than a month to go, if that is going to be true. And let's put it this way, if the game actually does release at this month, then I will say within the next week or two, we should be getting plenty of stuff that suggests that the game is going to release. And I mean official stuff. I'm not talking about leaks. I'm talking about official stuff. So yeah, that is pretty much going to conclude this conversation. And I would love to know down in the comment section down below what you guys think of the subject or whatnot. And let's try to be as reasonable as possible, even though I know you guys won't be, whether you're haters of the game or not. People are going to be talking with passion and with all sorts of feelings down in the comment section, but try to keep it logical. Don't just say it for the sake of hate. So, but yeah, with that being said, I'd like to thank everybody who took the time to watch and or listen. I really appreciate it. And let's hope that XDefiant does release something of information, of valid information this week. And if they do, I can't wait to see fellow content creators make content about it, because there's some really good ones out there. And I would really like to see what they have to say. But with that being said, thanks again, guys. Have a great rest of your week. I'll catch you guys on the next one.